Hello and welcome to Speedy Gaming. I am your host, the Speedy Turtle. Guys, we're going to get really serious here. And I am sorry, but this has been on my mind for the last several days being here on YouTube and on any other platform. I don't think anybody feels safe. No one feels safe. I don't feel safe. I don't think any of my viewers feel safe on this platform. None of us feel safe. There is a reason for all of this. There is suppression going on in YouTube. And now I'm going to explain a few things that will probably back up this claim. And I'll probably be pulling up a lot of news articles to kind of back up a lot of the suppression that is going on. Does anybody know what the founding document is all about? The Constitution of the United States. Suppression should never be an issue. The First Amendment guarantees freedom of expression, and that includes freedom of expression on any platform that is guaranteed to the independent artist. Or it doesn't even matter if it's theater or if it's film or television. All those rights are guaranteed to those who actually try and live a certain life. I am not referring to Alex Jones being suppressed from YouTube, although that is part of it. This is not about the alt-right. This is not about liberals. This is about content creators. And them being suppressed on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and all the other big tech platforms, and being denied payment processing especially. Guys, this is not something that is happening just to a local minority or to a specific political group. This is happening to everybody. There is so much suppression going on that it's almost unbelievable. There's absolutely no, there are statistics that I am going to show you while I'm talking that there is a whole bunch of this going on. Articles after articles explaining why they are doing this, and also some of the lists of people that are big YouTubers, big and small, that are being suppressed from this platform. The terms of service? Well, yeah. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Especially when you have to continually update these terms of services and provide vague terms to these services so that you can continue to suppress these individuals constantly. Now, this is not something that needs to be guaranteed to every single person on the planet. I may hold several political views that may not be in line with everybody else's, but I do understand what suppression is. I understand that hate speech is a particular idea. Now, I don't believe this guaranteed idea, but at the same time, I understand that that term of service should be honored and not regulated and updated constantly, don't you think? And if there's certain things and terms and vague ideas on what you want content creators to do and say, then that's not going to be helping their situation. It's not going to be helping that I am totally on the line of trying to share my gaming content with people and then having COPPA coming in and indirectly saying that enough's enough, it's the content creator's fault. But because of that, YouTube has to take the fall and blame it on the content creators. Thus, the content creators are liable. Now, why is this happening? Well, I can think of 3 different reasons as to why this is happening. 1, government suppression. There's certain pundits that don't want content creators to actually succeed. Number 2, the media. The media does not want content creators to succeed because they're the next competitor alongside them. So they're literally suppressing the news. Number 3, social media giants. They benefit from having a certain protection under the laws that we currently have in this country. And because of that, they have the ability to make certain curative decisions on these platforms. So whether it matters or not that they make money from getting rid of all of these content creators, it doesn't really matter. Because at this very point, they're going to be making decisions that are going to be based on money and their bottom line. If their bottom line does not meet a certain criteria, they're just going to kick anybody that they feel they don't want to have on the platform, whether it be through content strikes. How many times have we seen content strikes being done constantly and out of the blue, and constantly erasing people from existence and not giving an explanation as to why, even if they try to reach out to Team YouTube? Is Team YouTube reliable? No, absolutely not. You try and message these people and you try and actually get you try and reach out to them and see if you get a response. I guarantee you about 50, maybe less than 40% get answered. So this is the reason why I'm posing this important question. Are we not able to express ourselves? Are we not able to be entertaining, to provide gaming content, to do what we love to do? Because it's all dependent upon those who believe in the First Amendment. The First Amendment guarantees independent freedom of expression. A lot of people don't understand this, but it's our American right to express ourselves, to curate, to suppress, to deteriorate these types of laws that were instituted from the very beginning, and using machine learning is one of the reasons why everyone feels concerned. Machine learning has utilized this platform to such a degree that it cares about the bottom line the most, more than the human being. It doesn't care about your livelihood. It doesn't care about how much you have to pay the bills. It doesn't care how much you have to do to put food on the table. A lot of what you need to do as a content creator is all based upon whether or not you live by those terms and guidelines. Now, this was such a simpler time back in 2004, 2003. Those terms of services were very important, and they also were applicable in a lot of what needed to be abided by certain creators on the platform themselves. We've grown significantly, and we've seen a huge and a drastic explosion of creativity on this platform. There is no doubt about that. And the same goes for Vlare and BitChute. And I think BitChute is a real good example of decentralization and keeping all your content on a Tor so that people know that once it's suppressed, they'll still be able to find it. But with Vlare, you're still on another independent platform that has those same TOS guidelines that were instituted from the very beginning, that allowed freedom of expression, that allowed certain users to make certain decisions all on their own while they're on the website. When you need to flag somebody, you can flag them, and you can report them, and then they can be reviewed by a certain moderator. That's normal. That's how it's supposed to be done. But no. With machine learning, you can do everything, right? With machine learning, you can literally have the robot become the moderator. And when the moderator is controlled, they can then suppress all of those smaller content creators and make room for those who are actually big in the industry. TV, for example. The FTC getting involved is just a slight hint of what is to come. Obviously. You didn't think that YouTube would become the next TV, the next broadcast TV network? Oh, it is. It's already here. And it's YouTube Premium. I'm just not going to sit here and say that whatever is happening is not happening before my very own eyes. It's there. It's happening now. We are the news. And because we are the news, they see us as a threat. they see independent content creators as a threat to their norm. Well, what many refer to as legacy media or the mainstream media. Look at what they're doing to PewDiePie. You guys don't think for 1 second that they're not just coming after him just cause. No, they're coming after him for a reason. They're trying to defame him, deplatform him, and they're also trying to suppress his language. And they're also trying to suppress what he believes in and what he thinks is right for YouTube. Don't you think that it's kind of important that he is the voice of that leading platform? And don't you think it's kind of strange that there are certain things that robots are doing without the consent of the moderator behind the screen over at YouTube headquarters to be making these types of decisions, and that you don't get one iota of help from the other side? Why can't we reach a freaking phone line to these people? No, we can't, because what do you think is happening? We're contractually obligated to follow their terms. And if we don't, sayonara. Sayonara to you on Facebook and on Twitter too. They're following the same mode. And in fact, they're probably going to fully deplatform you across all of them if you even break one of them on the other side. This is not something that is happening just in the United States alone. It's happening worldwide. You also got to understand, once the copyright law was passed over in the EU as well, they've also been affected by this. No one can create content anymore. Not on the other side of the seas either. But when it comes to the copyright law here in our country, and under the FTC guidelines that they provide, no one can actually live this type of lifestyle anymore. Not when they reinforce and reinvigorate the laws and use machine learning to keep suppressing people off of the platform. And if you do this, and let me just make a message of warning to Vlare and to BitChute. Remove machine learning entirely. This is a suggestion. If you get rid of machine learning, you're going to solve all these problems. We're going to be able to have a little bit more of a dialogue. And we're going to be a little bit more upfront with some of our problems and some of the rules that we've broke. You know, as far as I'm concerned, the free speech platforms have the strongest ideals when it comes to decentralization and having people being avoided from being suppressed or even deleted off of the platform entirely. BitChute is a good example of this when it comes to the Tor. And when it comes to Minds and all the other platforms as well. Minds is more or less a decentralized zone. So if they were to suppress them, they would have a hard time doing it. It's a free speech platform. Free speech platforms, I think, are the only way to go. But at this point in time, this doesn't help that other content creators that live on all these other platforms get affected by it too. That they actually get affected by the machine learning, that they get affected by something that they said. If they said fuck, or if they said shit, or if they said any number of things on the platform and they get struck for it. I call upon all the platforms and all of the content creators around the world, share this video with everyone that you know. Because as of right now, if we do not have an internet bill of rights that secures the actual public to actually do what they're comfortable with doing, you're not going to see another digital renaissance for a long, long time.
Tell me how that works. You're not suggesting that proprietors phone one another up, or that many journalists get their copies spiked, as we say?
It's actually, Orwell, you may recall, has an essay called Literary Censorship in England, which was supposed to be the introduction to Animal Farm, except that it never appeared, in which he points out, look, I'm writing about a totalitarian society, but in free democratic England, it's not all that different. And then he says, unpopular ideas can be silenced without any force. And then
How?
he gives
This is what I don't
he gives a
understand.
two-sentence response, which is not very profound, but captures it. He says two reasons. First, the press is owned by wealthy men who have every interest in not having certain things appear. But second, the whole educational system, from the beginning on through, just gets you to understand that there are certain things you just don't say. Well, spelling these things out, that's perfectly correct. I mean, it's the first sentence is what we expand on.
This is what I don't get, because it suggests that, I mean, I'm a journalist, people like me are self-censoring.
No, not
You're right.
self-censoring. There's a filtering system that starts in kindergarten, goes all the way through, and it's not doesn't work 100%, but it's pretty effective. It selects for obedience and subordination, and especially I think that's
So stroppy people won't make it to
there'll
positions of influence.
behavior problems, or if you read applications to a graduate school, you see that people will tell you he's not doesn't get along too well with his colleagues. You know how to interpret those things.
I'm just interested in this because I was brought up, like a lot of people, probably post the Watergate film and so on, to believe that journalism was a crusading craft and that there were a lot of disputatious, stroppy, difficult people in journalism. And I have to say, I think I know some of them.
Well, I know some of the best and best-known investigative reporters in the United States. I won't mention names because I don't want to, whose attitude toward the media is much more cynical than mine. In fact, they regard the media as a sham, and they know and they consciously talk about how they try to play it like a violin. If they see a little opening, they'll try to squeeze something in that ordinarily wouldn't make it through. And it's perfectly true that I'm sure you're speaking for the majority of journalists who are trained, have it driven into their heads that this is a crusading profession, adversarial, we stand up against power, a very self-serving view. On the other hand, in my opinion, I hate to make a value judgment, but the better journalists, and in fact the ones who are often regarded as the best journalists, have quite a different picture, and I think a very realistic one.
How can you know that I'm self-censoring? How can you
I
know
don't say
that
you're
journalists
self-censoring. I'm sure you believe everything you're saying. But what I'm saying is if you believe something different, you wouldn't be sitting where you're sitting.